Okay. All right. Were you really getting your little thing on?
I'm trying.
I gotta make sure I turn this thing.
This thing that shut down all my stuff. I got a bunch of stuff. So, okay, great. Okay, get it silenced. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so it'll be to my left. Okay. Oh, hold on before we start. Oh.
So we already live on YouTube.
Yeah, they're just rolling, so don't even worry about it.
Oh, okay.
The main one is our Facebook, but I'm trying to finish one thing real quick. Good, this is what I need, but I can't do that just yet. Let me go there. So today is Brother Malcolm X's birthday.
Yes.
So I'm so like psyched. So I want to kind of start off with that.
Is there an event today?
Yeah, I have one here with Christy at 2:00 from 2 to 5.
Okay.
Doing events with Christy is funny as shit. Christy ass is crazy.
I might come and I might not. I haven't. I was thinking of that because this is for people whose mom is deceased or something like that.
Anybody can come, but it's mainly to focus on that. But we don't talk about that shit enough. We don't even know how awkward that day is for people. But that's a whole other story. I don't think people mean to be nothing. Like because people don't think about shit like that. That's like when people talk about their kids and don't be factoring people who don't have kids.
I know.
Because usually that's the motherfucker who help you pay for your fucking kids. You better shut your mouth on.
No, but why that's true.
So, I just think the shit is funny.
Well, do you need those bookends? Can I?
No, you can have those. I told you I have some all around here. You remember I told you that?
Yeah. Well, you should put some more jewelry there.
I know. I'm gonna get some.
And I owe you money for a bracelet or something.
Okay. Hold on, let me see. Okay. Bam. Okay. I'm gonna get to this. Give me just a minute. Is that me?
Oh.
I think it's. And then you know what the password is to that computer, right? Yeah.
38.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
But I'm just trying to stay on this part.
Yeah. Okay. Save that. Okay. Over here.
Oh, when you come on your page, so I'm on your page to see when you go live.
And we are live.
Okay, peace, family.
Peace.
Good morning. Welcome
Peace and
to
blessings.
Sunday Sitting with Sisters, the early edition. My name is Dana Maisha, and I got my girl here, Dr. Strong.
Good morning.
And my queen sister, Earth Mama Healing herself,
Peace, fam.
Rolanda, also known as Mama Ro.
Also known as AKA Queen Matata. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
That's Erica Badu. You know Erica Badu does.
Okay, I know she got so many names. How y'all doing, family? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Peace, Brother Michael. I don't know if he's in Chicago or but he's such a good dude. He's always tuning into our podcast.
I know. Yes. So, Dr. Strong?
Yes.
How's your week been?
It has been wonderful. It's been good.
You want to share?
You want to share?
Yes. She wants to share. That's why she's here. No, I'm just kidding.
Y'all.
So, a lot of my stuff this week has really been around my shifts in my personal life.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So, Dr.
So what's
Strong
happening in your personal life?
Dr. Strong is officially off the market.
Okay.
So,
Yay! Oh, look at that ring.
Yeah. That's so
Get it.
sweet.
So,
I'm
yeah.
so happy for you, sis.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
happy
As
for you.
Javon said, she found that love story.
Yeah.
Everybody really big about Black women finding love
Yes.
story.
I know that's right.
I'm super excited. One of the things I've learned is that, when a man is very clear about what he wants, and Rolanda and I had this conversation.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay.
When a man is very clear about where he is, what he wants in his life, who he wants in his life,
Yeah.
it doesn't take a lot, right? To make that decision. And you don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah. And play a
Because
whole bunch
I've
of
had
games.
right. I've
You had your frogs.
right. And it's like, wait a minute, what? I don't have to prove. Really?
Wow.
This is coming without some crazy text.
Right on.
We can just be who we are.
You would just be your
Girl.
authentic self.
Yeah. Ain't that some?
It must feel good though.
Yes, it does. It does feel good. It does feel good because with working and doing all the things that you do, and some of the things that you make adjustments for, right? And it doesn't feel hard. It's like it's easy, right? It's real easy because I remember being in a relationship where the person was just demanding. This is one example, demanding to know exactly where I was at every moment, right? And I couldn't. It's like I knew I was wanting someone, a protector, someone who's going to be looking out for me, got my best interest, but that just felt like I don't even have a word for it. Yeah. But then, with Marvin, I found that it's easy to say, "Yo, this is where I'm at. Yeah. This is how long the show is going to be, or this is how long the program is going to be." And it's just easy, and it's like, oh, so that's what that's supposed to look like. Oh my God, I'm so. If you and it came without even trust me, I wasn't looking, I wasn't, actually I was kind of just pushed. Like, hey, go ahead and talk to that one. A friend of mine, we were out together. She was like, stop acting crazy. So, but it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and I'm ready for and willing to experience all of it. Like even when there's something that you don't want to talk about, you don't like to talk about, when that stuff starts to come up. Oh, so just being willing to, ready. Have those difficult conversations. Yeah. Not that we've had any as of yet, but then being in the mindset and being ready and willing to be open to it, no matter what it is. And he's extremely sensitive in the way that is nurturing for me.
Right on.
Oh, right. Wow. Yeah. So, and that I love. And he scratches my head, so I fall asleep.
Oh, that reminds me of that song. It feels good loving somebody, and somebody loves you back. Hey. It feels good. Come on now. Loving somebody and somebody loves you back. Hey, that's a fact. Go ahead. Yes. Congratulations, Dr. Storm. I'm so psyched for you. Thank you. We gotta throw a party or something, Yeah. Any opportunity to have a party, we down. Right. That's how I roll. Right. Okay. Oh wow! So today is May 19th. Making today's. I'm just kidding. I watched the podcast, the Godcast with Lauren Jamal and Digga. But today is one of our shining heroes, Prince. To me, I want to take a moment and reflect on our dear brother, Malcolm X. So, peace be upon family. Yes, so, what does Malcolm X mean to you? When was your first introduction to Malcolm X, and how did it shift you? You know what? My first introduction was really like when I forget what I was doing, but I actually picked up his book and I read the book. And I was like, ooh, wow, because, and I guess I should say that was my first experience. I think that was a piece that happened to bring clarity to who he really was, because before that, all you got was this militant, crazy, person, right? But there was so much more depth to him than that. That's so right? True. So much more depth. Now, was he the type of man that gonna put a foot in it if you don't behave right? If you crossing his territory? Yes. And I love that about him. He was always very clear. But I got all of that once I read his book. So for me, it really shifted the way
I even saw him so much so before my house burnt down. We actually had a picture of him up in my house as like the president. So that's
Right on.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
yeah. So it was like, because I'm military, some of that kind of stuff just falls in there. But his picture would be on top, then it would be the president, and then we would move on. But he was always like right there at the top. And even when I was in undergrad, so funny, one of my papers was on him because we had to do something around, most influential person in our lives. And actually, he's the one that I wrote about. And again, it was really great doing that because it also put a new perspective in the minds of the people that were in my class, because most of them knew him as, this person who was destructive and and all these other things that you get just from the little snippets that you get from media or just people just talking and they don't know what they're talking about. So
kind of the way they do Minister Farrakhan, little sound bites. Yeah.
Why you ball like that?
I don't put them in the same category.
Okay, I can respect that. I can respect that.
I can respect that. To me, I just look at Malcolm X as his teacher, and I get that. And you know what? And I respect that. And it's so funny. Me and another person had a conversation about that, about how, whatever their feelings or their thoughts about Brother Minister, whom I love him, but I respect other people's opinion and stuff like that. And we just talked about how, because some older people had told us a lot of people didn't like Martin Luther King. But now he's held in awe and reverence. So as long as people keep that same energy when he passes on, stay true to the game. I think people should stay true to how they feel and all that. Yeah. Not wait till somebody pass and then be like held to the king.
What about you, Dana? Malcolm X.
So my first introduction to Malcolm X, let me be honest. I'm trying to think, did I read the book first or did I see the movie? I want to say I saw the movie. But my introduction to Malcolm X was pivotal because it came through my husband. He was there.
My husband?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were doing Alba Fudd for a minute.
He tells me now, don't call me your ex. But anyway, because my granddaughter says, when I grow up, I'm going to have me. And we were like, no, that's not the goal. But anyway, I was introduced to him, I'm going to say through Muhammad, because he read the book. He had broke his leg and it kind of helped, he had to stay still. And so he read the book. And so then he was so excited about it and was telling me about it or whatever. And then just so happens we saw some brothers or whatever. And then that was the introduction to the Nation of Islam. So the reason why I say that my introduction to Malcolm X was very pivotal and life-changing and life-altering because it changed my life. I never would have thought I would have gravitated towards or fell into Muhammad rapes. I don't know if I would have done that. But what I will say is that as soon as I heard those teachings, it really it rang true to my spirit. A lot of the teachings just rang true to my spirit, and I'm forever grateful for having to experience that because I don't know if I would have experienced Islam. It's not like the Arab community. There's no hate, no shade, but I'm not sure how they reach out to the Black community. You know what I'm saying? And with having a Nation of Islam, I think that that's a lot of people's introduction to Islam. So, Malcolm X, to me, he was just a bomb.com. I thought, when you read the FBI records, we found that he was a faithful man. And that was really good. And then that radical Malcolm coming from Malcolm Little, I just really love his story. And I think sometimes you need radicalism to shake you up. It's kind of equivalent to when the Black Panthers would have people come in and they would say, fuck Ronald Reagan or whatever. I think it was more of a shock treatment than anything. Sometimes I think you do need that radicalism to shock you into that change that you're about to enter to.
Right on.
So I was
Mhm.
happy to see how he evolved as well. And so I just love it all. I love Malcolm Little, you know, his story. I love Malcolm Little. I loved him as Brother Malcolm X, and I love him as Brother Malcolm Shabazz. I love it all. You know, he definitely was influential in my life because, it changed my life.
Right on, right on.
Mhm.
I know for myself, I think I've always, when I think about the introduction to him when I was aware of who he really, really was, I think I've always been influenced by Malcolm X to some degree, going for the community with people conscious. So like
Mhm.
just, people say, y'all serious like Malcolm X, and you would hear all these sayings,
Mhm.
but when you're young, you don't really know who the person is.
Yeah.
But I remember back in 1992 when I went to go see the Malcolm X movie, starring the man I love a lot, Denzel Washington. That really made me look more consciously at Brother Malcolm, and I was just really impressed. But also, I think he was beginning of my question and answer, well, what happened to Black folks? Like, how do we go from the 60s and from the 70s being so awake, being so conscious, to where we were at that time? And that's when the crack era was really in full swing. And sometimes as Black folks, we never really, we never really talk like that. We never really ask those questions of, what were some of those teachings? What were some of those things that came up? Also with him, it helped me to back into knowing who Marcus Garvey was. His dad was a Garveyite. That means something. That shaped who Malcolm was. Even when he was young, he didn't realize that who his father was. And those teachings from, Marcus Garvey was going to shape him even further later down the line. I would say respect to all your teachers, and whether they were good or bad in your life. But I feel like besides the teaching from Elijah Muhammad, he also had in his roots already was Marcus Garvey.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, how could he not be but great?
Right.
For me, that was my introduction to Malcolm X. I thought that, so the picture I chose is a picture of him smiling, because too often we refer to him as this militant, mean kind of, and in America, you got to be militant and some stone face.
Yeah.
But I also love when Ozzie Davis, beloved ancestor, when he basically talked about, have you ever had him smile on you?
Right.
And that's true. Like, we know Malcolm who smiles. We just don't know the tough, hard-nosed dude because the world makes you hard. So it was those things about Brother Malcolm that I have so much respect for. I mean, to me, he's a really great elder. And so I hope on this day, all across the place, people would be celebrating him, just like Juneteenth. I mean, we need to be celebrating those people who chose to come here and do some work and survive, so that we could be here. Like, I have choices because of Malcolm X. A lot of my teachings and me being stern, and I think the one thing I feel like I share with people like Malcolm X is to be stern and steadfast on your belief.
Yes.
Some of us do part-time belief. Some of us do belief when it's comfortable. Some of us do belief because other people is doing it. That's who I'm screwing this week. So if he believed that the sun is square, I'm going to believe the sun is square. But it was something about Malcolm X that he, even when he departed from the nation, he still, he went over to, learned about this other part of Islam. He still had his Black roots.
Yes.
And you can't take that away from him.
Right.
To me, he was able to be even more effective, even though he switched it, or faded into something else. He still knew that there was racism in Islam. So he didn't act like that didn't exist.
Exactly.
He didn't act like the Arabs were our friends and shit. And that wasn't enslaving Black people. So I feel like, and he had to do what he had to do to survive. Because, he had agents around him, just like in the Nation was full of agents. So just like in the Black Panther was full of agents. So to have him, let's remember him. I think when you do remember him, you do honor the best in yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I always think about Ruby D and Ozzie Davis. I'd say their names together because they roll like that, But Ozzie Davis, when you look at his the speech he did, it was at the memorial. What's called it when people do the speech at the end about your life? Eulogy. Thank you. When you think about that eulogy that he gave, it was just like befitting of our shining Black prince. Of this man who didn't, die. Didn't mind going out of here because he really did love his people. So didn't mean he didn't love his family. I think sometimes people get that twisted. I think people sometimes in the world of materialism, we get twisted on what it really means to be a leader. It don't mean you have to totally be broke or totally rich, but I think sometimes what I find is that some of us ain't willing to die for bullshit
Right.
and not for real shit. So
Right.
something that's real intangible. And I think Malcolm X, even through the grave today, he would have been 93. 93. I often think sometimes how would our world have been different if he had lived. I think sometimes people have to leave just in the state that they're in. Because I've seen people who were in movements and they did live past their 40s. And it's almost kind of like sad.
Right. What happened?
Because they didn't figure out how to infuse their great ideas in their youth and what position when they're older. Like you don't have to be down in the street rah, 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 but you do have to keep, providing motivation and making sure that young people or people coming after you, that the role is clear.
Right.
Instead of you sitting in the road trying to lead somebody, you're supposed to just be clearing the road and, dropping some seeds. And sometimes your position change,
Right.
if you will.
Right.
So anyway, I'm just grateful. I could not start this show off today without honoring our dear brother, Malcolm X,
Red.
Shabazz.
Yeah.
This brother was incredible. And I think we got to start pumping up our elders and our ancestors more
Yeah.
in the work that they've done over the years. I mean,
Right.
because I think his work is still happening today.
Right.
I met so
Absolutely.
many Black men in particular who said when they read the book that it really made the light bulb go on in their head. Like, that was me.
Yeah.
I've heard brothers say that. Like, I read that book and it just touched me differently.
Yeah.
I've interviewed people in the past who basically knew Malcolm X or was influenced by seeing him speak on the streets of Harlem.
Mhm.
Like Sister Sonia Sanchez talked about that, how she met with him. There is something about hearing these examples firsthand, and I think that will stop propaganda from wherever it comes from. Because I always remember, that's why I picked up in his smiling. There is something about his smile
Yeah.
that make you feel like, wow, what do you got in your life? Because I'm gonna need some of that.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, resolve and clarity. Like he looks as though he knows his purpose.
Mhm.
Right on.
And even though, and also too, like many of our other fallen soldiers, they knew that their life was not going to be long.
Right on.
So that's why, to me, I like to give props to people while they're alive.
I believe in that.
Oh yeah,
Right.
because I'm thinking about Nipsey Hussle now. I didn't even know who he was until he died, and I'm trying to figure out what is that about Black people that we don't start honoring people till they dead.
I just think it depends
Maybe
on
it's
your-
not Black people. Maybe that's all people.
Well, yeah, but I don't care about all people. I'm talking about Black folks. I'm gonna be very clear when I talk. I'm really talking for my people.
So what
No
you think
disrespect
about it?
I think some of us be straight up asleep.
Okay.
That's just what I think.
Okay.
And then no disrespect, but sometimes some of us are just sleep. Some of us don't value things. If white folks ain't valuing it, we ain't valuing it. And I know we don't want to talk about that. I see a comment from Ida Colette. You gonna read that?
Yeah, I read
While
it.
we on Malcolm X, I don't want to just go too far.
Okay, baby. I ran into Malcolm often at the Muslim restaurant on 110th Street in Lenox during the early years. At that time, he was just one of the handsome, wholesome men there. Yet there was always something about the way he carried himself and the way he spoke. Yeah. You could tell those ones that set apart, and that's one of those ones. Even before they become that, you can almost feel it. You can almost sense it.
That's so true.
Mhm.
That's so true.
And I have to give props to FOI. I just have to. Fruit of Islam. I love the way they rock, and I love the way they protect. So I'm grateful.
How does that connect to Malcolm X? Let me tell you why I say that, Dana.
Because he used to teach the fruit.
Okay. So you somebody that's one of his products, or one of his,
Yeah.
I don't say products, one of his, what do you call it when you influence somebody?
Influencer.
Yeah, but that's one of his
mentoring.
Yeah, it was mentoring.
Mentees.
Right, mentee. Okay. Let me tell you why I say that. And I'm glad you brought that up, Dana. So right on, we should be definitely giving props to the fruit. That's one of the organizations or people that he's influenced.
Right.
And I only say that because sometimes I feel like we know between the Nation of Islam and Malcolm X, it was not pretty at the end.
Right.
No.
I think Black folks
Just
we
like with
to,
some of us, it's not pretty. It's
yeah.
not pretty.
Well, I'm gonna tell you
right
why I'm saying that about Malcolm X though.
Okay.
Because far often I see people in the nation, every time you say Malcolm X, they're like Elijah Muhammad. It's like, look, You know, like first of all, you wasn't there, I wasn't there.
Mm-mm.
Right.
So my thing is, you can honor somebody and don't have to back up and give thanks to their parents all the time.
Right.
Because we don't do that with regular people. I don't say, they're here so often, but your mom. Like I don't even know your mom. I see the parts of your mom through you.
Yeah.
And I feel like as Black folks, that's one of those things that I see that make us feel so divided as a people that we know that there was rift there. It would be like every time I see you, not to say, but then that's so-and-so. And it's like, yeah, but I'm talking about this person right now.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, you know, as you start digging, then you'll see that he was influenced by West Indian Archie.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, he was influenced when he was in the street, this drug life. He took courage from a lot of places, and then he got a lot of great information from the nation, from Elijah Muhammad. But I feel like sometimes when you say you're about peace, because being a Muslim means to be submit to the will of Allah, and Islam is supposed to be peace.
Right.
We're supposed to remember that when we have information and know that there are things in this particular organization that, you know, we know at the end it wasn't just as great or whatever. And even though over the years there was some trying to smooth it out and whatever, but sometimes we didn't get a chance to always get to that because we do this thing where we want to just give other people shine. It's like I always look at that as like, I'm gonna continue to shit on this person. I wasn't there. You know, I always tell people, folks that tell you a story, we know this all the time, because no one that was still living was there enough to say, now, you know, that's not how it happened, right?
Right.
We don't have people that was there. So my thing is like, I think it's great that we talk about Brother Malcolm X, but I'm not going to front. Every time I hear certain people talk about him, I almost cringe in my skin because, you know, people, when I was coming up, I did hear people talk about folks who killed Malcolm X. And my thing is we could blame the government, but we can't do shit unless we help the government.
Right.
So at some point, it's like we have to figure out how do we honor people. Like when people honor Elijah Muhammad, I don't say, but yeah, but his dad was a Garveyite. And so we should look at Martin. No, he stood on his own, what he created. That's great. You know, but I just feel like we have to figure out a way of being able to honor people without trying to take their shine or bring politics in it and then shit on people. But that's what I see Black people doing a lot of.
Right.
And I think that's what I heard from you earlier when you said you don't put them in the same category.
Right.
I get that.
Yeah.
Sister Ia Colette, you see her comment? Because I'm talking a lot, so I'm trying to make sure y'all.
No, I want to respond to what you
Okay,
said.
go ahead.
I understand and respect your perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say Allah knows that I definitely was not trying to.
I don't think you were. That's why I asked you the connection.
And to me, when I think about Malcolm X, I think about the fruit of Islam. Y'all also heard me mention Red. I think about Red. Me and the boys in the hood, we just studied Malcolm X, and we studied him starting from Malcolm Little. So like I said, I love all of it. And even the funk, because while we're all here building right now in our community, even us, and I'm not trying to say none of us is on Malcolm X level, but it's funk sometimes. And so, yeah, I love it all.
I don't like it when funk lead to death, though.
I don't either.
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of like, and I get what you're saying, Dana.
I definitely
What I'm
don't
saying
either.
is, the only way we're going to heal from this is to be honest and saying, if you're going to get this man his prop, give him his prop. And I get the fruit. That's like sometimes when people say, bro, I love all that you do. When I say, oh my God, but you're not really giving thanks to me, it's really the people who made me. That's for me to say.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not for other people to look at my
Right.
work and go, yeah, but if you hadn't been under Catherine, you would have did that. It's kind of like, but wait a minute, I had my own goddamn struggles. Some of it came from her.
Yeah.
Right.
No. I get what you're saying, but if I was trying to say, Dana, when you said the fruit, see, for me, it was like, okay, how does Malcolm X connect to that?
Right.
And then you said he taught him. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. So it's kind of like this is something that he was a part of developing. So I can see the influence. To me, there's nothing wrong with that. So that's the part I was talking about. When I talked about the part, because I've seen people do whole lectures where they say he was our trader, we deal with him like how we want to deal with him. You know, I've heard lectures, I've heard shit that was like, dude, or yeah, you like him, that's because he likes my dude, it ain't even about, that's a set trip.
Yeah,
that's a set trip.
Y'all who know me know
I know you
don't
don't,
set trip.
I know you don't. I'm just saying, this man in his own right has created something for himself. If somebody gave me water and helped to hydrate me, thank you.
Yes.
But that don't mean I gotta always reference you.
Right.
My living should be an example. When you study Malcolm X, you'll get to Elijah Muhammad. Hell, you'll get to Marcus Garvey.
Right.
Yeah.
Hell, you'll get to Noble Drew Ali.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's the beauty of it.
Right on.
That's
So
the beauty of it.
but I just felt like even with Malcolm, I just felt like unfinished business is why we are where we are right now. So we refuse to figure out, well, what happened in that time?
I like
and how
the
do we
fact
learn
that their
from that?
families have had some resolutions.
They've had some resolutions, and they also still in battle.
Right.
You know, people do shit for the camera.
Just-
'Cause I heard
just-
interviews.
Just like us.
Yeah.
Just like
yeah.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just like us, but theirs is on a bigger stage. And so
Of
I
course.
get it, but I'm not ever comparing myself to the loss of life. I feel like when somebody goes out of here and dies and I contributed to it, I have to take responsibility
Really
for it.
That's
If
right.
I created the environment that made some men go sit in the audience and say, get your hand out my pocket and get up and annihilate our king, that's a problem.
Right.
That's a real problem. And I know I get the FBI. We need to blame somebody good. I think people who blame people don't make good leaders at all.
I think
That's
the
right.
fact that Brother Minister Farrakhan, I'm talking about,
Okay.
he definitely has talked about that.
He's
several
definitely, he
times.
said that well, I don't know. I think I'm gonna get that. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know. I think I seen it on the episode of some movie or something where it was kind of like not a spoof, but like, you know, how you pull shit from the headlines and try to make it real. But I also know that there was a lot of,
meetings.
yeah, I was at I'm not, but I just feel like I know people has created the atmosphere. And
Right.
what I love is that sometimes when the creator allows you to get old enough to live past a certain age or whatever, it's okay to say, you know what, I did set the tone for that. I did say some things out of my own loyalty to people.
I think
And
that's
you know what
what
the
made me
beauty is?
respect him
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, I've never heard that, but I'll
I
say
have.
this, but I've also seen him lately continue to ride on Brother Malcolm.
Right.
That's a problem. Let
Yeah.
sleeping dogs lie. You know what I mean? Let sleeping dogs lie.
Unless you're willing to own it, like really own
Yeah,
it.
well, because I've also been around people who were alive at that time still today, and they ain't letting that shit go, and I get it.
Right.
That's like me having to like love somebody who killed my relative. Like I just ain't that much tea in China. That's why I have a tremendous respect for Malcolm X's daughters, and particularly his oldest daughter. When she got up at that funeral of Malcolm X and talked about, of Muhammad Ali, and said he was the last of a dying breed of men that, you know, that she considered to be on the level of her dad. To me,
Right.
that counts because they lost a dad. They didn't lose a public figure. They wasn't in love with a minister. They wasn't in that was their dad.
That's right.
And I think
get that.
sometimes we do this
You
thing, we
forget
romanticize people, but when there's a loss of life, Black life don't mean shit because we're always like, well, but this, no, at some point you have to say, I fucked up, I'm sorry. You know, we could have did some things better or whatever, but it's, you know, it's not always see that when we talk about Brother Malcolm. Ear Coletta said during that time, he wasn't held in high regards by many of our people. Over the years, we Black people have become more in tune with Malcolm X, with Malcolm's message. A prophet is always ahead of their time. That's my point.
That's it.
That's my
it.
point.
That's it.
That's my point.
right.
That's my point. Because I feel like, you know, I always wondered what he had been like when he had lived this long. But I guess he was supposed to go just with, that's how the universe is. He's supposed to. Because there's some people who live longer than that, and I don't see shit that's changed. I
Right.
just don't see it. But that's just
all
me.
of them. I
Yeah.
love Martin, Malcolm, Elijah, all of them. The ones
Yeah.
that's dead, the one that's alive.
Yeah.
I love all the influences that they gave to me.
Yeah, I can respect where people are.
Mhm.
But I can also respect the truth, and I ain't got to try to be like loving everybody when the truth is the truth.
Right.
But let's get to the next thing.
You
So,
have
Brother
to
Malcolm
love.
X, love him, love him, love him, love him. That brings me to another person, Sister Shirley Chisholm. So,
Yes.
what I understand is, and that's that real hero stuff right there. So, I understand that Shirley Chisholm, is basically an artist was announced about the monument
Mhm.
to Sister Shirley Chisholm. This is another woman, way before her time.
Yes.
Way before her time. And sometimes I don't even think, you see it on yours, I don't even think that, you know, some of us don't even understand who Shirley Chisholm really was. This is a Black woman who ran for president
President. Yeah.
and didn't always have Black men having her back when she was running.
Right.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying that Black woman didn't either, but, you know, we're pretty much so. I know Ron Dellums had her back, brother from Oakland. But, you know, here's a woman who, you know, is responsible for who we're seeing even in Kamala Harris and anybody else that's running.
Mhm.
This was the first Black woman who ran for that.
Right.
Shirley Chisholm was the bomb. My mother loved Shirley Chisholm.
Yeah.
My mother loves some
I
Shirley
can-
Chisholm.
Yeah.
Where's she from?
Straight up. You know, I think she's from Brooklyn. She's from New York, but her parents are from the Caribbean.
Okay.
Mm.
Just like Malcolm X's parents were from the Caribbean.
That's
Mhm.
I think
right.
his mom was. I'm not sure about his dad. I think his mom was from
West
the
Indian.
West Indies, yeah. And so there's something about, you know, that, you know, that to me, it's just magical. Do you see it?
I'm looking though.
Maybe we can go back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to kind of chime in on that. But as you can see on the
Right.
screen, I'm gonna put this to the screen where you can see it looked like that Shirley Chisholm like overseeing this. That's dope. Like that is, man, if they pull that off, that's gonna be one of my stops on the road trip.
Right.
You know? Here you go.
I have.
Oh, you should pull up. You got it? You can pull up on mine. Mine's moving kind of slow. But okay, good. She got it.
Okay.
Oh man, she got a big print. That's what I like.
I know, I like that. Okay. So winning artists announced for monument to Shirley Chisholm, the first U.S. Black Congresswoman. Hyperallergic.
That's just part of the advertising.
Okay, that's part of the allergic. Okay, so it's official. After whittling down submissions to a short list of 5 artists, New York City has chosen Amanda Williams and Olel Khan Jayefis, I probably messed up that name, I apologize, to build a monument to America's first Black Congresswoman, Shirley Chisholm. Their proposal, titled Our Destiny, Our Democracy, is a dynamic 40-foot tall steel portrait of the Brooklyn representative, designed as a multi-dimensional sculpture. It contains references to park vegetation and amphitheater-style seating, inscribed with the names of women who have followed Chisholm's political pathway.
Right on.
Nice.
And it's a beautiful it's a beautiful
I got that there on the screen.
Right.
Do y'all know anything about Shirley Chisholm? My mother loved Shirley Chisholm. Her and the sister out of Texas, oh God, Barbara Jordan. My mother loved them too.
Right.
I mean, she loved a lot of them, but those two sisters was like right on.
Right.
Like you do whatever. Are y'all familiar with those women at all?
I am familiar. I don't have a lot of context about like the inner workings. Like I knew she ran for president. I knew that there were a lot of struggles with that when she was, trying to run it. I know that she didn't get a lot of backing from people. Well, I guess I should say male people that look like her. But from what I've seen in parts that I've read, she actually, she did a boss job in running.
Oh, please.
Right? Like she was like no holds barred. She was truly didn't allow, the different things to really affect or change, what her agenda was. So yeah.
What about you, Dana? Anything about
I don't know much about her other than what Dr. Strong said. I haven't studied her at all. I haven't really studied her. You want to break it down for us?
You know what? So basically, just what she said. I mean,
Okay.
She basically was a senator, but she also ran for president in 1972. There's a film out called Unbossed, and it's her journey, it's her story.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, I think that's what disturbs me sometimes. I feel like it's great that we all know about Malcolm X, but we don't know about those strong Black women who was up there leading the fight, even giving us the opportunity to be whatever fight we on today.
Right.
Like some woman had to kick that door down if you're a Black woman.
Right.
Black men they ain't always kicking in doors for us. They kicking in doors for themselves and for their kind. But I feel like knowing about Shirley Chisholm, knowing about Barbara Jordan, these are women whose shoulders we are clearly standing on.
Right.
Like undeniably. And so Ia Colette, I'm loving that she's on because she knows history.
Yeah.
She says Shirley Chisholm, unbossed, the first woman to run for president. Love me some Shirley Chisholm. That's how my mama would say it, Ia.
Right.
Love me some Shirley Chisholm. A courageous woman and classy as hell.
Yeah.
Classy as hell.
Which is something everybody is not. But
Yes,
that
true.
is
That's true.
good.
When we think
That
about
is
leaders.
really good.
You know what I mean? Another topic worth looking at here is speaking about classy. There is a new study out that basically talks about Black women. Basically, the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the U.S. is Black women.
Right.
Yes.
And I don't know about y'all, but I really ain't shocked by that.
No.
That's just me. I could be wrong as hell, but what y'all think about that? Are you gonna read the article?
Well, I'll talk about it and then
Okay, great.
read
So
the
hit the
article.
sign up. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I believe that. I see a lot of You know, to me, I feel like we're in the age of the side hustle. I see a lot of
I like that. The
yeah,
age of
the
side
age
hustle.
of the side hustle. I'm gonna tell you, most of the Black women I know, you know, whether they work full time or they're in school, they got a side hustle. And
That's so true.
I think it's multi-generational. We got millennials that side hustling, and we have middle age and older. And I love it. I love it. I love the fact that we're trying to control our narrative. I love the fact that we're putting ourselves in a position where we could create jobs and
Right
create
on.
multiple streams of income. And we get to execute our ideas, you know?
Right on.
And yeah, I mean, it's good being a boss. It feels good. And I don't mean that in a way like, you know, we walk around sticking out our chest saying I'm a boss, but I think it's really good to be able to be a creator and just like, you know, these are my ideas and I'm about to put them on wax. And if you feel it, you know, it's good. And so I love it. I love it.
Right on. So what about you? What you think about that, Dr. Strong? Because you're an entrepreneur as well.
Yes. So I love it. It's a fact. You know, I think that goes back to you were talking about Queen Mother Shirley Chisholm and you know, that strength and how we really take things and create it so that we can, you know, first take care of our families, then take care of ourselves, and how is it that we, you know, can be better, right? And create, you know, again, you mentioned, you know, additional income, creating jobs and different things like that. Because I have several, you know, businesses, you know, that I run and operate in, and you know, just which one I don't know. I don't know which one is a side hustle.
Don't you think our mamas was like that? If they didn't have all this technology, but they always had a side hustle.
Yes.
Doing hair, doing cooking, cleaning, even you know what I mean? Like we just have more tools to do it for ourselves. But I think, you know, Black people, hell, we always had a side hustle.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, selling food stamps. We had a side hustle.
Right. That's a side hustle.
So
because you have to figure out the percentages to make sure that it's profitable.
It's always had.
Come on now.
So Lisa Smith says, what about women who have sustaining businesses, not side hustles? I'm definitely saluting them.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's it right there.
That was the reason. Yes, that was the premise. And we're definitely saluting
I'm pretty
them.
sure that was on to the road too. So I'm pretty sure before it was sustainable, you had to hustle to get it sustainable. You know what I mean? Like, it's always hustling it. Like I just think it's just a word. I mean, hell, I had my business for like 10 years. I've been incorporated. You know, before that, I worked for a Black woman who had hers up for 25 years and still, you know, so I just think it's just a play on words. I'm just saying, hustle to me, whether if you have a sustainable business, it's still a hustle.
Yeah.
You have to have employees. You have to, you know, I mean, it ain't easy running the business.
Right.
That's why sometimes I think
and you have to market.
You have to market. Like this is always a hustling part of your sustainability as a business. There's always a hustle to it. You know what I mean? You never get to a place where all your employees are happy. You know, you never get to a place where they're not asking for a raise or they're not, you know, like you're always trying to figure out how do I keep my employees happy? You know what I mean? That's all of that is, you know, and I'm not afraid of the word hustle. I'm just not afraid of it. But I know most people who have really good sustainable business, like the sister who owns this privately jet company, she makes over like 900 million a year. So it's some really, she's a young sister, she's not over 30 yet. But I'm pretty sure her life is a hustle. You know what I mean? Even though she's making fat dollars, you know, you don't get to some place and plateau. You know, if you're climbing, that's always get the hustle. And even people who are millionaires are always in their hustle. But I get you, sis. Definitely big ups to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So she says, I have had one business for 28 years.
Right now.
Fed the whole family. It is a hustle.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yes.
But salute to you though, but that ain't easy.
Yes.
Y'all take my hand off to you, sister. Look here. That's tell us about this article.
Okay, so Black women are the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the United States. Atlanta leads the nation in the number of women starting businesses.
Wow.
Okay. So Channel 2 anchor Jovita Moore met two women who started their own business. One of them got a big break at the Super Bowl. I didn't have a life. I think I probably lost some hair though. through the process.
Oh,
I said Jemine Moulton, who founded Skylar Security. Her business
Nice.
helped keep Mercedes-Benz Stadium safe during the Super Bowl. Okay.
Wow, that's major.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
That's major.
It was an incredible opportunity, she said. Her security guards made a big impression. The client asked Skylar Security to double its shifts. Moulton never imagined snagging such a prestigious event when she first started her business while working as a Clayton County police officer.
Right on.
After doing
Yes.
both for 3 years, she quit her day job.
All right now.
All right,
Yes.
side hustle turned into a sustainable business. It was probably the most nerve-wracking moment in my life. Like I said, I'm a cop, an athlete. I don't get scared. A few months later, Moulton joined the Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative. It's a 15-month-long incubator that helps women with everything from hiring a team to finding funding.
Right on. Right on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
You know
That's what's
what?
up.
Let me use this time to congratulate the winners of Bill Black.
Right on.
Bill Black had a similar initiative, although it wasn't a 15-month long program. I want to say it was 5 months. So Bill Black is an organization that was birthed out of the murder of Stephon Clark, and it's funded by the city of Sacramento and Sierra Health Foundation. And so what they did was they had like a 5-month-long cohort of people who had businesses or wanted to start businesses, and then they ended up opening it up to all of the people in Sacramento so that they could pitch to this committee to win some funding and startup money for their business. So 29 people or businesses submitted. They chose 7 or 8 to actually do the pitch, and there were some winners. Let me see, who were the winners? I can't think of the guy's name, but he owns a construction company, Black-owned construction company. And then Natasha Miller, she has a medical coding company, and she's doing really great work. And then Passion Bailey and Barry Axius, they won first, second, and third prizes. And then everybody who submitted too, they also got a consolation prize too.
Right on.
So congratulations to the winners and all of the people who went through the process. And thank you, Bill Black. Thank you, City of Sacramento and Sierra Health Foundation.
Right on. Thank you for that update,
yeah.
Sister Dana. That to me was
Yes.
really, really important that we got to hear that
Yeah.
in terms of what's going on. That's, as they say, that's what's up.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. So I want to jump over to also while we're on this thing about Black women. So I understand that for Mother's Day, last week it was Mother's Day. And I understand that there was an organization who basically bailed out Black moms,
Right.
106 mothers for Mother's Day.
Right.
Because, you know, we have this thing in this country, when you go to jail and you can't make bail, you don't get out.
Right.
And so I want to also give some big ups. I love, you know, I don't know. I think we have people doing wonderful things around the country. And
Yeah.
sometimes we just don't get to hear about
Hear
it.
about it.
But
Yeah.
seeing this organization that basically helped to bail out some moms, that's amazing.
So where's the
Yeah.
organization, as I'm looking for it, where's the organization based out of?
You know, I'm not really sure.
Okay, we're gonna talk about it in just
Yeah,
a second.
yeah,
I'm pulling it up
yep,
right
yep,
now.
yep.
Y'all get mine
got it.
too. I'm
You
sorry.
got it.
Okay, no. Black Mamas Bailout helped release 106 moms
Right on.
for Mother's Day. Lost Behind the Veil documented stories of acrimony between law enforcement and Black men. There is the less publicized saga of Black women who sit behind bars because they can't afford to pay bail.
Wow.
Often the women who are held on nonviolent charges and haven't demonstrated they were a threat to society pay a hefty price sitting in holding cells, waiting for a helping hand to bail them out. However, this year, 106 women were released in time to spend Mother's Day with their families after the National Bailout Collective, the coalition behind the Black Mamas Bailout. Okay, so it's the National Bailout Collective, in case you guys want to research that, helped reunite mothers with their families to spend quality time on their special day. That is
Right
so
on, right
beautiful.
on. Right on. That's what's up.
This year was the largest bailout
Right on.
yet, and we couldn't be more proud. The National Bailout Collective Project Director, who is Arissa Hall, is in a public statement. But our first fight is far from over. No, she said our fight is far from over.
Right on.
The existence of cash bail and criminal legal systems that entraps Black community continues to devastate families across the nation. We will keep bailing caregivers out of jail, supporting our communities and raising awareness of the broader impacts of bail money and pretrial detention.
Right on. Right on. So that to me is pretty major.
Yeah, that
So
is
we don't have to
major.
get some big ups because that ain't easy to do.
No, and
Right.
it's such a noble thing, you know,
do,
it's
right
something
on.
that, you know, people behind bars can easily get forgotten. And I
That's
hate
so
to
true.
say that, but it's
Right.
true. And so
Yeah.
the fact that this organization is literally focusing on that, I think that's huge. I wonder, I'm sure it's others, but that's the bomb.
I love that. Let me,
Right.
Sister Chrisanne is on the watching list. You may not see that on yours. She says, "Peace, Queens. Thank you, Mama Ro, for today's conversation. At 66, I'm old enough and grateful to remember these giants you discussing. My mama loves Sister Shirley Chisholm. I'm telling you, Black women love her. I don't know how you can say you Black and a woman and stand and not know who the hell she is.
Right.
So kind of like knowing Jesus. No, I'm just kidding. No. But Ann taught me to love her too. So she said she was a fearless rebel woman. Maybe that's what it is too.
Yes,
Sometimes
yeah.
when you're a woman, you're a rebel. It's not as romanticized as being a man and being a rebel. Let's just
Right.
be honest.
Yeah.
You know, but I feel like that was the beauty of who she was. Like she to stand up and run for president when people are telling you maybe we should have a man run. Because that was part of
Right.
the argument
Yeah,
with
that
Black
was-
men.
yep.
Like, you know,
Mhm.
and my thing is, hell, is she best qualified and let her run.
Right.
Yeah, let her run.
And support her.
And support her.
Yeah.
Definitely support her. So the next thing I want to go on to is looking at this issue around abortion. Now here it is.
Oh, wow.
Alabama has passed a law, but we're gonna talk about the attorneys who's like they're not basically they're not gonna be prosecuting people. Because I personally don't understand how you're gonna make that so criminal when you have people killing folks right out who walking around
Right.
breathing, and you don't pass no law around that.
Right.
But here again, here it is, some old white men telling you what to do with your vagina.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
some of them even believe that, you know, and I know it's like, oh, it's a person's choice. If you're not gonna be there with them, helping them raise this kid, then shut the fuck up. That's what I believe. Ain't nothing like somebody trying to tell you how to cook your shit in your house. It's like, go. If you don't believe in abortions, don't have one. Right. That's what the fuck I tell people. But I at least see these attorneys feeling like, you know, and I think they're in Atlanta. These attorneys are saying it's Georgia. Georgia has a law too, by the way.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're not prosecuting people like that.
Right.
Now, I always find it to be kind of interesting because, which I'm grateful that the sisters is doing it. But I'm saying to myself, it's funny, it's interesting how we defy things like that, which is great. But I also think where it comes to, like, say, prosecuting the police, your hands are tied. I don't understand that, but that's just me. But tell us about this, Dana.
So DA Howard has no intentions of ever prosecuting a woman under this new
Bring your
law.
mic closer because they get ready to start the church.
Okay. District attorney from across Metro Atlanta say they won't prosecute women for abortions. A big concern surrounding Georgia's heartbeat law is whether a woman could be prosecuted for terminating a pregnancy. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
District attorney across Metro Atlanta have said they would not prosecute a woman for seeking out an abortion in Georgia under the new law, heartbeat law, which would criminalize abortion after 6 weeks when a fetal pulse is detected. That's
Which
crazy.
is, you know, and I know that's going to have some people have some thoughts, but the really fucked up part about that, even in the wording, is that most women, even those who are like super in tune, because when you get pregnant, your body just changes, don't even know at 6 weeks. Like you know what I mean? And so
some do. Some
I mean,
do it as
some
soon as the
do.
sperm hit the egg.
Well,
Not
yeah,
all.
that's a spirit. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Some
because
people
you
be
just
like,
like,
oh, what the fuck?
what that part. Now that does happen, but if
I agree.
you know, but again, now I don't believe, you know, making babies and then getting rid of them, making babies and then getting rid of them, like that, like using abortions as a birth control. And I think it was Sister Javon mentioned about how it's really important to separate certain things within this conversation,
Oh, yeah,
right?
they say
Um,
that, yes.
Yeah, because
I read that.
the,
Well, I just also think it's
but it's still not your
business.
place to be telling
Like, I mean,
me.
it's great to have
regardless.
debate. It's great to talk about it, but I just feel like that's like me once again telling you how to run you.
You.
I'm not even you.
Some stuff is just not your business.
Right.
Everything
Say that
is
again,
not your business. Some stuff is not your business.
Why don't you concentrate on, making those phone calls when you hear somebody get slammed up against the wall, and instead of trying to dictate whether or not somebody gets an abortion? I'm just saying,
I am
but
done.
that ain't your business.
If
But
they
you
have
want
a
to tell a
law that
woman,
said for men who don't, be in their children's lives, let
Thank
them have a law
you.
for that shit.
thank
That you
you.
must pay your child support, even if it means you got to do cans and give them the cans.
Right.
But wouldn't they have a law for people that use people?
Wait, hold.
I
That's
mean,
all
like,
look
why
like.
is we doing that? Like, if we talking about people's, come on now,
Yeah.
you're talking about somebody's
Right.
uterus.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Stay the hell out.
That you didn't even, you have nothing to do with this creation. You have like nothing.
These were all men,
Men.
all white
Old
men,
white.
all old white men. I'm just gonna build it up. So it kind of sounded like the people who wrote the Constitution of the United States. It kind of felt like it was a meeting like that in Pennsylvania back in 1776 or whatever that was, on 4th of July, whatever, or 4th of July. I just feel like, I just feel like we have to be a little bit more like, what is this about? Or have these people raped people before? And maybe they want, because even in slavery, when they was raping women, they still wanted their babies to live, even though they was like, a result of rape.
Right.
Which is why we so messed up as Black folks in America.
Right.
Happen to always say you mixed with some shit and it's from a result of rape. That's sick in itself that you even want to claim some shit like that.
Ooh.
That's just me, family.
Yeah,
That's just me.
That's it.
My water, let me give me a sweet.
I know. You know what? For me, I believe in freedom of choice. Although I would never tell you to get an abortion.
Right on. I feel the same way.
I just think that some stuff is not your business.
Right.
I love that. I love that. I just thought that was quite interesting. But it was nice seeing these, and there's a couple of articles coming out. Now we'll have to say this. How do y'all feel about hearing celebrities come out and talk about their personal abortion stories? And I'm sick of that shit too. There's always somebody gets an opportunity for people to. Because I feel like if it was that important to you, you would have shared it before this incident.
Right.
I would get that. But I think to come out and talk about if you're a celebrity and you come out and talk about your personal abortion story, is it really about the issue or about you needing to get some attention because you're a celebrity and that's how you get noticed?
And that's how you get noticed.
And not only
Or
that,
be relevant.
They're using other people's pain points
Yep.
to clear their own conscience.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna agree with that a little bit because
just a little bit.
But to talk about it, I'm gonna tell you because I've had a couple abortions. Y'all know I'm not a celebrity. I'm just saying I've had a couple abortions, one at 16 and one at 17 years old, and it's not something I'm proud of. But I'm gonna tell you something. When I did speak about it, it kind of gave me a little healing.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
So maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the celebrities' motives are or whatever,
right.
But I think it does something to you though. Because at the time when I had it, I just got up from there and was like, it was business as usual, but I think it does something to the psyche.
Yeah.
Do you think abortions has something to do with people having some kind of moral or some kind of ideal of what they think a moral is? Just a question. I just thought about that.
I will say that I feel like we have been taught, I'm making a gross generalization, but I know that we have been taught that, abortion, don't kill the baby, don't kill a life and stuff like that. I just feel like, and I think that it is a moral code for some people, for me, I think it's all about just some stuff is not your business. I think
Right.
it's a personal choice because when you choose to bring a life in the world, you're committing to 18 plus years of sustaining and shaping this person. And so I believe that that's only a choice that those people that's going to do that can make.
That's
Right.
so true.
So I
That's
don't know
true.
if a verse in the Bible or
That's
a
real talk.
preacher or priest, a minister. I mean, I get they have an opinion, but that needs to be up to the person. I don't know
Your
if that.
opinion.
Yeah.
Keep
I
your
just wonder.
opinion.
I don't know how much that has to do with people's religious beliefs or, just perception or,
Right.
I'm always amazed that people will ride hard on one thing but not ride hard on something else.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about abortion, but if you are not, say if you're not married, I'm just saying, and
Yeah.
you had an abortion and you'd be like, that's a sin. Well, I don't have to have an abortion because it's against my religion. Well, a
Well,
lot
you
of
know,
shit is against your religion, but what made you pick that?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like I just never understood that too much.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
That part.
I think people need to have the freedom, regardless of what religious
Well,
belief
hell,
they
what is
ascribe
promise?
to. Yeah.
Right.
Whatever your
Because
religious belief are.
either way, the people who have these opinions, either way, you are not going to assist, support any of the consequences that going to come, whether the woman gets an abortion or not. You're not even going to be a part of that process of making sure that she gets any type of healing on either side. On either side, you're not even going to participate. So you want to put rules out here about abortion, but then we're still struggling to make sure that contraception and birth control, however you want to say it, is paid for by the medical for women.
Oh, say that again, Dr. Strong.
Yeah. Say that again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I won't be going to do
It's still a struggle, right, for contraception, birth control to be paid for by insurance for women.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
But you want to dictate. So what are you going to do? You're going to outlaw sex next?
I really feel
Because see, people need to pay attention. I get it. Everybody has an opinion, and some people are probably going to be upset, don't want to talk to me anymore, and that's fine. That may be some energy that I need to release. But the thing of it is that you see, I'm so nosy.
I'm sorry. Yeah, just keep going. No. We're trying to get our stuff together over here. I'm sorry. That's why you see me doing stuff when y'all start talking, so I can have time to do other stuff. But go ahead. Yeah.
I'm with you, but no, I've done that so many times.
I talked to you about the healthcare page.
We were going to the next storyline. And me and her found that we were in tune.
Right.
This girl here, you were supposed to keep rolling.
Yeah, that was funny. Hey. But that's some stuff I would do too.
She's so common and got.
Yeah. She was being nosy. Is it nosy or nosy? Which one is it?
Right about
your
now,
accent. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. But go ahead. So you said that's covered by your health insurance.
Right. But that was a struggle as well. But so what are we going to do next? I mean, really seriously, on a serious tip, we have to pay attention to all of these laws trying to dictate how people move within their lives, especially when you're looking at things that you're not creating laws or better for when someone kills a life that's already here.
Create something around that penis. Create something around that penis. Create something around, if you're having sex and you don't have a job, create something around that. Create something around you ain't pay child support. Create something around get snipping it. Like if you know you can't afford children, come on in, we pay for that to get that text. You don't be dripping on nobody and creating things you can't get,
Exactly. Because see, here's
create something around that. Then then the whole world gonna stop.
Right. Because here's the real thing though. You guys get complacent about all these laws being arbitrarily thrown out there. Guess what?
Yeah.
Then they're going to be telling you how to do everything, and they're going to make it a law.
I don't know. I'm just saying you create something around that penis.
All right, Handmaid's Tale.
All hell.
How many of y'all watch Handmaid's Tale?
I probably should. Probably something I should be watching.
It's something crazy, y'all. But that girl, Handmaid's Tale, it's on Hulu because I don't have cable, but it's on Hulu. It's a original series. It's 2 seasons in. The third
Is it
season
about
about to
midwives
come out.
or what?
It is having to do with midwives, but it's about how they changed the societal laws. Just one day that people woke up, people in military gear came in,
I'm telling
swooped
you.
everybody up, and changed the laws. And you had to acquiesce.
Wait a minute. Don't that sound like right now?
I'm telling you, fiction
Mm.
fiction dictates, not necessarily dictate, but it mirrors reality.
Or they try to get you used to the idea, so when it starts
Exactly.
happening, you be watching a TV show. That's what I was always taught. Seriously, you be thinking
That's
like, you know. So, but hold on. So speaking on that, did we just talk about the abortion right? Brother Common, some of us know him as Common Sense, which common sense is not common by others. Said that it was hard for him to eat after his breakup with Erica. So what happened? Like, why was it hard for him to eat? I mean, what happened? Like,
She got that wrong.
Okay, got that what?
But you know what? I feel like all I heard me be like, woo. They said that she'll make you change your God.
That's powerful.
That's powerful.
If you get a black man to go to church with you, that's powerful.
Yeah, because usually it's the other way around. That's power. She got that power. Okay. Common dated Erykah Badu for a couple of years in the early thousands. Before they split in 2002, some of the hardest work I've done on myself has been after breakups. Common told People magazine when he opened up about the relationship recently. The two collaborated on a number of singles during their time as a couple. Oh yeah, you are my friend.
I need some therapy.
Yep, right.
And that was
okay. But when it ended, he said that it was particularly hard on him. With Erykah Badu, that was my first love, where you're just open and floating. He said about their time together. When we split, I was 27 or 28. I was in a haze, just going through the motions. It was hard to eat. It wasn't her fault. The relationship just didn't go forward.
So wait a minute, he didn't get no kids. Erykah Badu, you usually have a child or something with her.
Well, let's see. Yeah, because usually
they didn't have children together.
Okay, and that wasn't the only time he had his heart broken. However, adding that a later broke up was just as difficult for him. I was in another breakup after that, and that was heavy. He continued. That one honestly, that one honestly sent me to therapy. Fortunately, it hasn't left him jaded. As he said, he's open to a relationship again. I know how to communicate like an adult now, he explained. I want to be the best partner I can be. You know what, y'all? I'm a big up comment
that was
for first of all. Yeah, because
that's so true.
Right.
How many men do you guys know go to therapy?
That's so true. Or therapy that's really therapy. Because some people's therapy is like having more sex or going to play basketball.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, you know, therapeutic, I guess. But I do, you know, he also talked about that he was molested.
Yeah.
He talked about that. I've always liked Common Sense.
Yeah. I like the fact that he was
open about that.
He's confident about his. To me, I think you have to be really confident about your manhood to be as vulnerable as he's being right now. And so big ups to him. Because I don't think any less of him. Matter of fact, I have a
greater respect.
Yep.
I agree with you on that. So on that note, we're gonna skip over to men enjoying sex but mentally unstable. Girl.
Please read that.
So listen, y'all, that kind of piqued my attention because and then there's another article that talked about, I'm trying to see if I can pull it up too, around let's do one at a time on this relationship, one at a time. So about men having you know, sex with women who are mentally unstable. So while she's looking for that, what do you think that's about, Dr. Strong? Just curious.
You know what? I think that for me, that the idea is that when you're mentally unstable, you're easily able to be manipulated. you can that person is better able to, or easy, it's easier for them to get you to do stuff that's not kosher, if you will. And plus, you know, depending on how they feel, how the woman actually feels about sex, that can also take you into a world span as well.
Okay, let me just read this. Let me read this statement one more time. Let me read the name of the article before you get into it, sis. But it didn't say relationship. It didn't say that. It says men enjoy. So I say I enjoy a good piece of cheesecake. I'm from Philly. It don't mean I'm in a relationship with the cheesesteak or cheesecake. But it says men enjoy sex with mentally unstable women more. A new study finds. Now we'll laugh when we talk about men being with women who are crazy as shit. We be like, man, she crazy. Be like, yeah, but we sometimes I think we confuse that with the Captain Save-A-Ho, but maybe they would swing from the chandelier more. I don't know. Like maybe they'll suck your big toe. I don't know. I'm just saying. So
that is another. I mean, that's another level aspect to it.
Because they just said enjoy. They didn't say that the relationship with it just mean like your only relationship they have is when they have relations. Period. But what do you think that's about?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Danny, hit us what this article saying. Give us part of this article.
Okay.
She's like, okay.
Y'all, because this is okay. While no woman intends to fall into the crazy girlfriend role, it happens. We lose our heads over guys. We like and do stuff that we wouldn't generally entertain when we're in our right minds. Plus, that's real talk, y'all. Plus, even if we are even keeled about our relationship, mental health struggles are real and things happen in life that sometimes compromise our equilibrium. I agree with that. That's not a bad thing for guys since many men like having sex with women who are a little unstable. Number one, there's something to be said for a bad attitude. A new study published in the Journal of Sex Research discovered that guys with partners who had less emotional stability reported better sexual function, while lower agreeableness of a sexual partner was predictive of better sexual function in women. I wonder does that have anything to do about that makeup sex? I don't know.
That's what it sounds like.
Number two, of course, you have to find a good guy too. The study also found that men who are thorough and dutiful may feel the need to satisfy their partner sexually, which may in turn lead to a better sexual function of their partners. Number three, it's not clear if this is true across the board. The findings were a result of a survey of interviews with volunteers about their sex lives, sexual function, and personalities. All participants had an average age of 51. And all of them have been in committed relationships.
So this is about 51-year-olds. They just happy probably to be getting some. Shit, I don't know.
But see,
go ahead.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. So a average age of 51, and all of them have been in committed relationships for an average of 24 years. While these statistics may differ, were the studies done predominantly on millennials, the results are still pretty troubling for multiple reasons. The main one thing being the implication it has been about men's approach to their partner's problems.
Okay.
They say well, men are fake. I'm not playing
what
with her.
What you
No.
Is that what it's?
No, I'm wondering if this has to do with the fact that men are fixers, right? They want to fix problems.
They just want to solve it. They don't want to fix it. They just want to solve it. They just want to solve it.
They want to be over with.
Yeah, they just want to just be over with.
Let's
go to the next.
That's what.
I mean, that's what they say.
Just say.
So hold on. So that brings me to this. Hold on, Danny. Hold that. It brings me to this thing about when. So there was another article. Y'all always go on some little relationship stuff. There was another article that talked about somebody said they wish that Black men would stop trying to convince Black women to date below their education status. Now, I don't know. Has anybody ever? What does that mean? Yeah. Has anyone ever had that happen to them?
What do you mean?
Having someone have you date beneath your education status. I'm gonna say
I don't think
education
that's
or class, or let's just be honest, because classism is real.
Yeah.
We dress up on like education. We talk about,
Right.
but we know it's a class thing. It's like if somebody lives in a hut and you live in a mansion, and he like, well, you don't need all this material. Come live in my hut. You know, like that's, you know, is that what some of that is about? But what are you
Right.
what are you thinking about that?
Mm,
I'm not quiet.
man.
It's supposed to be young or when you old. How do you want to
Right.
I have
Yeah.
two opinions about this, y'all.
Okay, go ahead.
Y'all,
Go
I'm a
ahead.
Gemini, so I got two opinions
that
about
what
this.
it is?
That's what it is.
And it's two,
My
and
mama
they
was a
different.
Gemini.
And they different. One, I get the fact that you kind of do want to date if you can, or want to be with someone who is kind of like on the same level as you. And I don't even know if that, I'm not even reducing it down to education.
Okay.
I'm just saying, just that you guys have the same standard. To me, it seemed like it would make for a more cohesive relationship.
Okay.
On the other hand, y'all know I love love, and love is love.
Right.
And so if you fall in love with someone who, dang, I don't know if that's going to really work. But as far as education goes, I don't think education should be a deal breaker. So
Right.
when I say
agree
that,
with
if I have a degree, which I don't, but if the other person does have a degree, don't count me out because I don't have a degree.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I'm
I
still
agree
just
with
as
that.
intelligent.
Yeah. I agree with that.
At the same time, too, if you bring in $100,000 a year, how do you feel about dating someone that would bring in $20,000 a year? I don't know. If you fall in love, I don't know. What's your thoughts? I'm not
I
good
think
on
for
this.
me now, I don't really necessarily prescribe to falling in love. I'm at that point in my life where you're making a choice to love somebody.
I get
Okay,
that.
that's fine.
I get that.
Because you got to be able to do the work.
She on that grown woman stuff.
Hallelujah.
I get that.
And here's the thing, because I've experienced on both sides, and I've been in positions or situations where, quote unquote, Dr. Strong is in the company of men who are doctors and and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, why the hell are we here? It's like, just because we both went through the same process doesn't mean that we're meshing. And no. And then I'm telling y'all, but I have always been the type of woman that, regardless, I love a blue collar man. I love a man that don't mind
Works with
putting
his
on his and put them boots on, and when he comes in, I can just say, "Come
You
here,
can
baby,
just
let me
take
hold
them
you
off.
down.
Ooh, you got
Let me
dinner
wash."
ready?
Yes, and yes. She's like, yes. I'm serious.
I'm serious too. I know what you're talking about.
I mean, can you? No disrespect to people who've gone through the process, right? Because I get it, it's hard, right? It's hard to get through it. But I mean, I don't want you worried about reading a thesis or some shit when somebody coming at me, or
That's so
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
such a turn on.
Right?
We
I need
know
you to be
you
able
can
to
read.
square up.
We know you can read.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And I need you to be okay with saying, what I've just done for you is good. And you're not comparing it to some restaurant or something. So, yeah.
mistaken trauma.
Just
So
let
that
that be my,
reminds me.
let that be my choice.
So that's okay. So that's one. So we looked at a few things about dating someone that's beneath your education. I would say beneath, but that's what it really feels like. But then the other thing is, I see a lot of people doing those sometimes is bonding with people around your trauma.
Yeah.
So the article is stop mistaking.
Looking for it.
Yeah, stop mistaking.
Yeah, that connection with love.
Yeah.
Something like that. I remember
Because I've
seeing
seen
that.
people do that a lot. Where you basically stop mistaking shared trauma for compatibility.
Yes.
you know, and that's kind of deep.
Yeah.
That's probably, here it is right here at the bottom of the video right there. Too.
Oh, I see that. Okay.
I think I resent it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Go all the way down the bottom.
You got it?
So you know what? This is so. Yeah.
Girl,
This.
Here it is.
This takes you deep, right
Man,
here.
let me get bigger
Yeah.
so you can read it bigger. So
Thank
let's
you.
talk about that for a minute, Dana.
Stop mistaking shared trauma for compatibility. Oh Lord. Because it will have you thinking that you will bond over that. And I know this for actual facts. Shared pain brings people together, known to sociologists as social glue. Trauma behaves like a binding agent in social settings. For me, it was crack cocaine epidemic. Forging connections between survivors or casualties of wars, known as trauma bonds. Stockholm syndrome, a term used to describe the distorted relationship between kidnappers and their victims, termed defenders, demonstrates one form these bonds can take over time. While confusing to us on the outside, Stockholm syndrome creates a mental escape for victims by reconfiguring the brain to find comfort in the captivity. What do that sound like, y'all? I'm not even talking about relationships at this point. That sounds like our plight here in America. Another common bond is the kind we see between our servicemen and servicewomen.
Yep.
This trauma bond, known as unit cohesion, highlights the effectiveness of shared trauma in high stress situations. I agree with that. I believe that. In a study conducted by the Society of Occupational Medicine, participants reported higher levels of cooperation and group morale, increased communication skills, and improved operational performance, especially following a trauma event. Researchers found that while unit cohesion improves soldier mental wellness and increased mission success overall, it had little to no impact on soldier mental health and PTSD rates once the combat zone element was removed.
Wow.
So, Dr. Strong,
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Dr. Strong, can we talk about unit cohesion? What's your take on it, and how'd you experience it?
Well, 23 years in the military, yes.
Bring your mic out just a little bit.
Out.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So yeah, because what it really does, you don't feel alone, right? In all of this stuff. So you don't feel alone when you go out somewhere and somebody, pops a firecracker or something crazy like that, and then you fall into the ground, right? So if you are with someone who has experienced that, then when it happens, that you have that support, and that is what keeps people like connected. It's like, I got your back no matter what, and you don't question. Sometimes when you're connected like that, you don't question a lot of things, because you will sometimes always attribute whether it's good or bad behavior to that trauma, right? And you can almost get to a point where you're enabling each other.
Wow.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I know. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, because for a minute, you would date someone who's been in the military, who has seen, war and different things like that, because, when something happens on TV and it triggers me, then I don't have to explain. Right? I don't have to explain. I don't have to explain why I get quiet.
Right.
I don't have to explain why I break out in tears, because 9 times out of 10, especially if it's something around the same kind of stuff, he's having that same experience.
He gets it.
And he gets it.
You don't have to, or she gets it. You don't have to explain the backdrop. Kind of like when you hear.
But you also don't, the hardest part about that is that you also don't necessarily heal from it either.
So let me ask you this, why would that not make y'all compatible?
Because if that's the only, oh, go ahead.
No,
I'm sorry.
no, either
Yeah,
one
go
of
ahead,
them.
you answer.
So
You had
for,
it too,
so for me,
I'm just
if that's
asking.
the only thing, if that's the reason why you guys bonded over the trauma or whatever it is that you guys were going through, surviving the crack cocaine epidemic, you know, or just whatever it is,
Mhm.
and that's the only basis that you guys bonded, and then once you guys, years later, and you're not in that setting anymore, and then you realize what exactly do we have in common? Because we're
Right.
kind of different.
Yeah,
And like, had it not been in that because of that trauma,
right.
maybe we wouldn't have,
That's deep.
Talked anyway.
so
Yeah.
I believe that to be true. And it is a bond that you will always have. I feel like
Right.
it is a bond that you
will.
will always
Yeah.
have, because it's like, damn, we came through this, and you kind of just always like, you got that
Yeah.
bond.
Yeah.
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 That's probably, what about, you know what? And I know I'm going off on a tangent, y'all. I'm so sorry. But I'm thinking about children that grow up in a foster system. They probably have a certain bond too.
Well,
If they're
that's
able to
what-
bond, if they're able to be together long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also know, even around the bonding, which is great. I'm just asking these questions, but I also know too, sometimes with people, you feel like this person know what it means to create something that you want to have.
Right.
That's where the bonding come from. When people get together and be like, you was in the foster system, so was I. I ain't never had a family, me either. Let's create a family.
Right.
It's not like
That's it.
you fucked up, I'm fucked up, let's go be fucked up. It don't work like that. It's
Right.
more
No, I
like,
didn't think that.
no,
at
no,
all.
I agree. But I'm saying it's more like even with the crack era,
Yeah.
oh, I was struggling, you struggling. Well, we ain't gonna have that. We're gonna create a family.
Mhm.
And then you realize that, down the line, like, well, damn, like I didn't know you wasn't a good communicator, or
Right.
he
See, yeah, those
beans and I hate
yeah.
beans. I
Right.
don't know, or shit, I don't know. You want to live in a flat house, want to live in a two-story. I mean, you don't even think about all that kind of
Or
stuff.
our
Right.
standards are just
That's
different.
what I'm just saying,
Yeah.
kind of saying like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see that, because I
I
think people come
totally
together
get
while they
that.
create. They try to create something that they felt that
Yeah.
they didn't have,
Uh-huh.
and you gonna
I get
understand
that.
why I don't have.
I don't have to
Right.
tell you the background.
Right. That makes sense.
That
to me.
makes all
Yeah.
of this stuff makes
Yeah.
sense to me, y'all.
So that brings me to this next piece, where there was a man who donated his kidney to a woman, then proposed, and she turned him down.
What?
So
So
how do y'all feel about that?
So
Like,
he saved her life.
yeah. And do you think that he was trying to cash in on a bond?
I think so. I mean, well, I didn't
Yeah.
actually really read that article.
Well,
But it doesn't mention that they were already dating.
You don't choose. Wait a minute, y'all. You choosing a life mate based on. I guess he was expecting something.
Why would you expect?
Read us some of that article. Let's just see if our notions are correct.
Man donates kidney to woman and then proposes marriage. She turns him down.
Maybe he didn't want to be departed from his kidney for real. Oh, go ahead.
Maybe he wants to be close to it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to exit off this
Just
thing here.
to
But
be
anyway,
close.
how far will you go for love? Will you be willing to sacrifice an organ? This thing is okay. Sorry, y'all.
That's all right.
Oh Lord.
Did it go wrong?
Yeah,
Oh Lordy. Okay,
that's okay. So what we gonna do?
Yeah, that's all right. So while we thinking about it, while we get this back up to where it needs to go,
Where this guy
refresh it. How do y'all feel? Do you think the system was wrong? You got it? Okay,
Yeah.
ma'am, she got it.
How far will you go for love? Will you be willing to sacrifice an organ just to save her life? One man did exactly that and then proposed for marriage afterwards. But in spite of what he did, the response he got was not a positive one.
Oh, no.
Well, it might have been positive if she knew that she just couldn't, I wouldn't make a good wife. But anyway, this story happened in South London.
Oh, yeah.
And it
could have been an American black man. But go ahead.
and it has since gained a lot of reaction from people everywhere. Apparently, the man and the woman first met in the mid-90s, but even after sharing a kiss, nothing much happened between them. Mary who worked as a stockbroker secretary, took care of her son Dwayne, while Simon was a music event organizer along with his brother. Through the years, he still had feelings for her and would often send flowers and chocolates on Valentine's Day. Oh, wow. Okay. So, what you guys want to hear the story about what happened? She collapsed on the floor.
Okay.
Dwayne found her on the floor, choking on her own vomit. It
Oh,
was later discovered that she had an end-stage kidney disease, and her only hope would be to have a transplant. So, Mary shared, I couldn't believe it. I have been given a death sentence. My name was put on a dead donor list. Dang. I could only wait. After being discharged from the hospital, Simon visited her often and even helped care for her. He went as far as feeding and bathing her.
oh, Jesus.
Oh, wow. That's so intimate. Okay, often staying overnight at her place. Eventually, he suggested that he get tested to see if he is a match to her blood type.
So hold on, stop right there.
Y'all,
Stop right there. Let me tell you why. So right then and there, there's a relationship going. If he bathing
that's
you,
for
yeah, that's the
real.
whole thing. Maybe y'all that she didn't want to be married to him, but that don't mean they broke up or whatever.
Right.
Or maybe he was just like a really close friend.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. That could be.
Like
Right.
because sometimes men be thinking like if you go on a date and you looking on the fucking side of the menu, that really means that's the fucking side of the menu.
Right.
Instead of saying, hey, that's the expensive part of the menu. I mean, I have enough for.
Right.
So I think sometimes men and women can read into things very different.
Mhm.
That's true.
But she sounded like maybe he's a loyal friend and he would go all out for me like that.
Right.
I kind of get that.
Yeah.
And he was just thinking like, I'm feeling you and
Yeah.
I'm bathing
I
you.
want to be able to do something more than just bathe it.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't want to just do that. Okay.
Damn.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
the thing again around bonding around
A trauma.
a traumatic event.
Mm-hmm.
That's to me was a pretty good example of that. Because sometimes we do that. Like we kind of read more into stuff than is really the reality of. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah, I'm reading the story further, y'all. And these people, he was feeling her. It's a trip how you can be, two people can be in the same situation and view it very differently.
Right.
So let me post this next one up here real quick. We're gonna get our speed round in. You never need to just gotta talk about it. This one is about men participate in negative gossip.
Oh wow.
What?
Men gossip.
About others just as often as women do.
Oh,
Y'all know that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So y'all, wait a minute. Let's back up.
Okay.
Are you trying to say that men gossip?
Yeah, just like because we associate gossip with women most times. Women are chatty, we gossip a lot, blah blah blah. But this is saying men gossip too.
Probably
And so
more.
Felicia said, "Girl, yes, yes, girl,
But they
yes,
do.
girl. I'm sorry, yes, girl." But you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. Have anybody ever? I think that's what they do in the barbershop. I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what they be doing?
I mean, I
Really?
guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like maybe they gossip at the barbershop. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. You know
They
what?
gossip in the field. They gossip while they riding in the Humvee. They gossip while they shooting.
I be wondering what they be talking about.
I guess I had a misconception of what. Yeah, I guess.
No, tell me what's your misconception?
No, I guess I'm one of those, what do they call those double standards? But when I think about gossiping, I'm just like, I don't
You're
know.
so cute, Dana.
I don't know if I would be, I'm just thinking about a man gossiping.
They're human.
I get that, but I'm just, now I get that.
It's funny. I grew up not
Gossip.
even knowing men gossip like that, honestly. 'Cause I don't be in a circle. Like, if men are doing something, I see my way out. I don't hang around them. Where women will gossip in front of our children, in front of men folk. Sometimes
So
men,
maybe they do it in
sometimes men
private.
do it just with each other. They don't do it in front of us. Unless, I'm going to be honest,
maybe.
the only time I've ever seen a man gossip is if he was gay.
That's
I'm going to be
what-
honest.
so
I'm not trying to be funny. He'd be like, girl, but he be doing it the way we be doing it. That's the only time I've ever seen a man gossip. If he was just flat out like gay or, if he was a trans.
Look at Dr. Sean like, oh yeah.
No, I'm serious. That's the only other time.
Right.
I've never
I
just seen
get that.
men who they usually get with each other. Like men go to the man cave. They don't be out in the living room doing that.
Right.
So Veronica says, yes, men gossip. I was shocked to find that some men gossip even more.
Yeah.
And then Felicia says the red table with Aisha Curry text messages. Ooh, break that down. Y'all don't know what happened with this.
I think she's saying that the men gossip via text messages. 'Cause
Oh, okay, I can see
Yeah.
that. But that's why I'm thinking. That's why I gave that explanation. No disrespect to nobody, but I was saying I've never really watched men. See, I've watched women gossip. Even if I was on the bus stop and I'm sitting over here waiting for somebody, if there's women over here that they gossip, they don't care that I'm standing there. They don't care. They be like, oh, that bitch there. I've never seen men be like that nigga. I've just never been. They usually always do this away from.
Okay.
You just said in a text message. That makes sense. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
everybody gossips somewhat in the text message.
Yeah.
But or on Facebook, that's the more I ever see men talk was on Facebook. I've never been around men talking about men stuff with each other. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And that's why I said the only time I've ever seen a man do it in my presence meant that, not meant that we was gay most times. He'd be like, girl, because he'd be gossiping like we'd be gossiping.
So that makes
That's what I mean.
sense. They go off in the cut and do it.
Like that, like they always say, hey man, how you doing? We over here. So men joke about like, let's give them their space, but they really like to get with each other, fill each other out.
That makes sense.
That
Okay.
kind of, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Okay.
So we had this little sister that, I guess the mom's boyfriend, allegedly, I don't know if he's been convicted yet, has killed this little girl. And so this week, a couple of people talked about, first of all, why didn't she get removed from her mom, from the care of her mom?
Oh, because
Or do women sometimes put men before the children?
oh, girl.
Now, I know that's a hot topic and people don't want to be, because some people, the power of the dick is real, y'all.
It's kryptonite, they say.
It is, but it is shit.
That's crazy, though.
I just feel like that's something I know is not like, as great as what, Kardashians did this week on their show or what happened with the Real Housewives, but that's a real problem.
Yeah.
If our girls can't be protected and it's our job to protect them, that's an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, y'all. What y'all think about that? And then Cardi B, I'm not a fan of Cardi B. I'm not trying to be funny. I don't even watch that kind of stuff. I don't even know the sister like that. But I will say this. I love that she says, and even Cardi B, no matter what you think about her, and I think for me, I'm just not into that kind of stuff. I'm into people blaring the lines. 1 minute you this, and that. But even she said, Cardi B says that single mothers stop letting their random men babysit their damn children. I agree with that.
I couldn't even imagine having a random man over my child, over my children. Yeah, no, I would have to be. We maybe must be courting for marriage. Cause how you just gonna bring a random man over your children? No, let me quit. Let me stop acting like that. I just know I'm not judging. I just know that I couldn't do it. But hey, I think people do need to find love. So
I do, but I think love, again, here we go. Not love has nothing to do with your child's safety.
I know.
Again, love has nothing to do with, murder. It's just sometimes love go out the window for me because it is just an emotion. You ain't really got to have it. I know that sounds kind of jacked up and kind of cold, but I think sometimes we confuse love sometimes with some of the wrong things.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I feel like, because now you're talking about a need, like a want versus a need. Your child needs to be safe, but you can want love.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't have to really have this man in your house.
Right.
And I think some of this world gotten so sick, you'll be with somebody and this person be in the children. Like that's crazy as shit.
Right.
And you know that this man ain't
scary.
right. You know he not right. That's a problem. We should all be feeling some kind of way about the loss of life and your baby, like your boyfriend, you dating this fool, but you don't know nothing about him. You ain't, then you gonna leave your kid with him? Who the fuck does that?
I'm just trying to think about my children now. And my children are 26 and 17. And they never see me with random men. They never see me with random men. But I'm not judging people who date, and that's what I meant by I get that people have to find love, because we definitely know for sure there are some beautiful love stories out there. And people are sometimes on their second, third time around. So I totally get it. I'm not against it, but I'm gonna tell you, it is kind of scary because oftentimes when you're getting to know somebody, they're putting their best foot forward. So to bring them around in that sacred space around your children, it's like you really need to know this person.
I agree.
I just feel like something is really wrong.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
right.
Something
Yeah.
is very much wrong. And I'll be honest. I mean, I'm up here agreeing with Cardi B. You know, no matter how
you
feel
with
about
Cardi
her,
B too.
Right.
I disagree that, you know, like these people are not your child's babysitter. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to front. That's why I feel like even with this law, I feel like, hey, something's wrong that you'll be trying to police what comes out the womb. What about the people who helped
Once
put
they
it in the
get here,
womb?
right,
What about their responsibility?
right,
Like, where's this child's father at?
right.
And don't he feel some kind of way? That's the kind of stuff that make you feel like sometimes men is kind of like heartless, or why the sperm sometimes don't mean nothing. It's like a detached piece of water,
Yep,
you know, but all the responsibility goes on the mom.
right,
Why is that?
So,
right.
you know, some people have said,
What's going on?
Veronica's saying especially the millennials.
Uh-oh.
I think that's from the
Yeah.
gossiping.
It's for the gossiping or?
I think that's what it
Okay,
was, because,
okay.
yeah,
I'm trying to
Okay,
figure
so
out.
Veronica said they deny mental health and emotional issues with men or women and leave their children with random men too trusting. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, me too.
I agree. I agree. You right on, sis. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like, and see, this is the thing that got me though. It's like we'll be talking about the latest, whatever, but this is a real issue in our community.
Yeah.
right,
We don't talk about it
Yeah.
because it's not exciting. Like sometimes I get sick of black folks because some of us we want excitement and not work.
yeah,
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so to me, these are issues that we should be discussing in our community,
Yeah.
not just about the fluff stuff or how we appear to other groups. Like we got a problem in our community. This is a problem.
yeah,
Right.
This is a real problem. I think we should be talking about this from the pulpit
Yeah.
or from
Yeah.
the rostrum
Yeah.
or
Right.
wherever you go.
Wherever your platform
Yeah, at
is.
work,
Yeah.
everywhere. I think that if we're gonna really talk about protecting children and saving some lives, we got to talk about this.
right.
Right.
Even when we see stuff, somebody knock on the door. Keep talking, y'all.
Yeah.
So how do y'all feel about that? Keep going.
Well, I just feel like we need to put our children first,
Right.
you know?
Because it really goes deeper than just like a random thought or a random man, right? Because
what's that last one? Keep going, y'all.
who defines that, right?
Right.
What is it that's going on with this woman that she leaves her child with her boyfriend? You know what I'm saying?
You know, I feel like maybe when I say that, you know, it's okay to find. I know that people are looking for love. I mean, we know that there's some good stories that come
Right.
out,
Mhm.
but I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's still really scary because we've had a lot of these issues.
Right.
You know, we just, I don't know. It's kind of like, is it worth it?
Bring your mouth to mic.
You know,
Right.
is it worth it?
Here's what worth it. Help me out.
Is it worth
Sorry.
it, like, breaking celibacy or just whatever, to have a man and then, risk it turning bad for your children?
So I guess one of my questions is, as women, do we put too much emphasis on dick?
Some
Is
of us
dick
do.
more important than your children's safety?
I think some of us do.
Yeah.
And
I
I
think
think
some
people
of
like
us
that
do.
probably shouldn't have no damn kids. Because to me, that should be like a no-brainer. I'm not trying to be funny.
Right.
Like
It's
it's
not.
nice to have a man. You know what I mean? It is. But I also think it's safe. It's like, do I have air or do I have air is the most important thing you can have.
Right.
But it's like air as opposed to I don't know, laying in the dirt. Which one would you want? Laying in the dirt or air? Like you gotta have air first. I feel like when you bring children to the planet, the name of the game is sacrifice.
Right.
And I think a lot of us got this twisted. We have a lot of, that's what sometimes I feel like even with some of the things we discussed today, That's why men sometimes their self-esteem is through the roof. I ain't talking about self-esteem in terms of go get a job. That's not what I'm talking about. When you see a man who know he shouldn't be dating nobody,
Right.
feeling like he can get at anybody,
Right.
that's a problem because he has no self-esteem. He don't even think you have anything to offer in this relationship.
Right.
Because we'll take them as they come. But it says a lot to our girls when they see you pitting men before you,
Yeah.
before themselves,
Right.
and then you wonder why your daughter is so dick hungry.
Yeah.
Because the mama is dick hungry.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's seen a lot.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So you know what I mean? And then you wonder why, like even with the sex trafficking, why is that so big right now? Why we don't want to talk about that?
Right.
Why do some of us feel like it's okay to do whatever, even though that damages your spirit and your soul?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why we don't want to talk about that?
Right.
And that, to me,
Right.
that makes me sad. Then my thing is, so we look at these extreme cases, but I watch women do this every day. I watch women do shit for men that they would never do for women. I watch women put their sons on pedestals and make their daughter be a workhorse.
Yep.
I watch women, if a man comes into a room, her whole aura changes and she gets more like, hey. And then men see you like, hey, I'm talking to my boys, like, that he can
Right.
still be his authentic self.
Right.
So it's kind of like, how do we break that? Because what happens is then some of those girls who've been neglected by this, to me it's neglect. I'm just all straight up what it is.
Right.
Then she grow up feeling like, well, fuck a nigga.
Yeah.
Niggas ain't never did nothing for me. And then you wonder why girls are sometimes so hard. I look at black girls sometimes, and black girls can be very hard.
Very. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I understand it because that's how you make it. That's how you have a closed mouth don't get fed. That's how most people get fed.
Right.
Because they haven't felt like they've been protected or honored.
Right.
But I don't know. Where do y'all think that comes from? We talked about, but where do you think in society we do that? In the society, do we do a lot when we pick? I'm talking about in the black society. I don't know about, because white people do all kind of shit and we don't emulate none of that.
Right.
Like build whole communities and buy houses next to each other and shit. So we compare ourselves to people that compare all the shit. I'm talking about in our community as black people, do we think men are more important than women in the overall black culture?
That's a good one.
I would think so. I think I would have to say so. I know that's a gross generalization, but I think so. I feel like
I would say,
what's
is
the
it
name?
true?
What's the name of that song? Well, it's not. We know it's not
Not
true
true.
because women. No, we know it's not true for a lot of reasons.
It's
But
not true.
that men are more important. But we do that. I think we do place some more. I'm making a generalization. I think we do place some more of a value on men.
But if we do that makes that a truth.
It's not true to me. I don't think a
I'm
man
not
is
saying
more
to you
important
personally
to
to
me.
you.
Right.
If your actions reveal how your heart truly feels.
Yeah.
That's like somebody said, are you crazy? I go, no, I ain't crazy. And I go do crazy shit. But I ain't crazy though.
Right.
The truth is that you're doing crazy stuff.
So
Right.
the truth is that if it wasn't for women, the movement would not be pushed.
That's not I get what you're saying. If it wasn't for women, none of us would be on the planet.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, in truth though, we value men over women in the black community.
And
that's why we have black feminists. That's why we have black womanists.
Mhm.
That's why we have black people who want to go be with other people. I'm not saying it's not self-hatred. I mean, some of it is. But folks I know that have been all in the black world was like, that shit will kill you.
Yes.
Because black people don't have balance with each other.
Right.
Sometimes I feel like when I'm negotiating stuff, I have to take me a white person with me so black folks will try to be fair with me.
Right.
This is my people.
Yes.
I ain't talking about white, and I don't want to hear about white supremacy and all that kind. That's an old argument for me. It's like, why can't you be balanced? Why can't you treat your daughter like you treat your son in terms of the balance?
Right.
I know they need different things, but it balance. We have too many men who feel loved and valued even when they hate our guts and wouldn't do it for us, and our daughters are feeling helpless and hurted and hurtful and just feel like they're not valued in our culture, and we don't want to talk about that shit, because what I learned is that women who don't value themselves for real can never value, can never value, girls and women.
Right.
I can always tell women by the way they treat girls, as opposed to I watch how women interact with men and how they interact with women. I watch all of that shit.
Right.
I watch all of it. I watch us like we be out here protesting for people who fucking hate your guts. But because you're a black male, we have this false sense, because to me it's a false sense of, we have to protect our black men. Dude, he's the protector.
That's right.
I'm watching, and I remember being in Honduras and watching the black women go in the woods and cut down all the trees and stuff to heat their homes and put the wood on in their head and bring it back to their huts. And then the black men is out there on the ocean fishing. The fuck? Let me go out there and fish, and you go do the manual labor work. No, for real. Then when I look at the Indian people, the women didn't do that. The men did that. I'm like, maybe I'm with them. That'll make you want to go be with them. Because I don't want people to treat me like a workhorse. That hurts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit up here. I don't care about perception. Because I'm going to tell you, newsflash, white people already know we got issues. They already fucking know.
Right.
We can stop trying to do this like we have to appear that we're all together. We got to stop that.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why, I guess, since we're bringing this up, it makes me think about an article that I read and talked about in Chicago Sun-Times, that Chicago mom says we must teach our daughters to protect themselves. Because right now you can see that our girls are totally under attack. But they ain't getting no play.
Right.
And they're as excited as a cop shooting somebody. I think we should I think we should sensationalize that a lot.
Yeah.
I think we just, if it ain't somebody doing something to us that's outside of us, then we won't make them accountable. What about accountability for yourself? What about how your daughter feels? That somebody's preying on her. And 9 times out of 10, I think it's us. I don't think it's no scraggly ass white man running around with a van kidnapping black girls.
Right.
I just don't believe that. And I know that historic, I just don't believe that. This is not us back in the days of slavery when white folks was doing stuff to us or raping us. Now it's us raping us. And I just don't think, I think we have to have an accountability. Just like with the Native Americans, one tribe banned people who were meth users. Get them the hell out of here. You can't be here with us if all you're going to do is push points into our community. How can we save our community and save you too? You're a predator.
Right.
You're a predator. You got to go. And I know that's not fashionable. And I think we're like, well, we birthed that. Yeah, you birthed some shit. But, we say, I brought you here. I brought you in the world. I'll take your ass out of here. That's what they kind of meant by that. I don't think they meant like child abuse. But it's like, hey, you do a crime in America, you get busted. You're supposed to go to prison. They don't be like, oh, we're going to, come on, y'all. But I don't know. I think sometimes as women, we don't value our girls. And then we end up producing more women like ourselves. I don't want to see no more, y'all. Shit, y'all making my job hard. I'm just be honest. I feel like sometimes I just be like, damn, what are we doing here?
I know. One thing about parenting, talk about that stuff is hard because all of your issues that you have, maybe coming up, growing up, all of that stuff comes into play. And you have to, while you're parenting and while you're shaping another life, you have to break cycles. You know what I mean? And so shout out to the parents, because that is not no easy. And shout out those who parent, because you don't necessarily have to push out a child to be a parent. And shout out to those people who take on that responsibility. Because that's a lot. Because it's like you got to balance out all of your garbage. And then try not to project it on this child that you're responsible for.
That part right there.
Sister Deborah said, well, a lot of you make me choke off my teeth with the power of the D.
Who is that? Deborah Parker?
Deborah Parker. Hey, that's fine, though. Let's say like, and then somebody else said, yup, and then somebody said truth. I'm not exactly sure what that was. I'm sorry, y'all. We're just talking. But it also made me think of in Standing Rock, the Sioux tried banishing meth dealers.
And
I feel like, y'all, this is where that what I just talked about comes into play. Because that meth dealer is somebody's son. It's the same way in the crack era, we try to make sense of people who sold crack and being like, no, that's dangerous. This person is a predator upon us. So we just can't be okay with him selling crack because he want to have some tennis shoes or some shit, or even if he wanted some bread to eat. You don't do that by selling poison to somebody else.
That's what meth look like. This is meth.
Yeah, I've never really seen
I've
that.
never seen
I never even. This looked like crystals.
But you see that? So I posted that up. That you want to tell us a little bit about that. I think we can learn something as Black people.
So Standing Rock, Sioux tribe to banish meth dealers from tribe. Standing Rock Indian Reservation,
I've been there.
right, you sure have, has taken drastic action to rid the reservation of methamphetamine from its midst. The tribal council, which is so divine because they have their elders
Yep.
and other people too, but they really refer to their elders from the limited things that I know. The tribal council voted on Tuesday, July 28th, a couple years ago, to ban or exclude any individual 18 years old or older convicted in tribal, state, or federal court of dealing, distributing, manufacturing, or trafficking methamphetamines. Or any narcotic drug, including any substance containing opium, heroin, something else I can't pronounce, amendone. Well, I can't pronounce none of these words. I'm so sorry,
Methadone
y'all.
or something.
But y'all know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
A slew of stuff.
A slew of, right. That's good for them. The action did not come overnight, but was the result of months of deliberation and reports from local tribal members of the horrors that are committed against Standing Rock citizens, where people are under the influence of the above mentioned dangerous narcotics. The safety of tribal members, citizens, and especially our children is the primary concern to the Standing Rock Tribal Council. Reads in part the news releases issues today. Y'all.
Okay, y'all. So let's look at that for a minute, because I felt like, here they are trying to have safety,
Right.
having safety. We don't always talk about safety, but we'll be trying to protect the people who's harming people
Right.
and not providing safety to the people who are being harmed.
Right. Yeah.
That's a big ass step to
Yeah.
do something like that.
Yeah.
We be trying to save everybody. We be
Right.
trying to do restorative justice and stuff like that. But here they are trying to govern their own nation.
Nation. That's
That's their
right.
sovereign nation.
Yeah.
Give thanks. Big ups to the Sioux tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
Big ups.
Yeah.
Like, get that out of here. We gotta build. We can't build something and save you too. And you the person raining hell on us.
Right.
I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
I just feel like they have a code of ethics. They got a code of conduct and they abiding by the code, and I'm here for it. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just feel like people who do have a code that they abide by, they can control their narrative. And when you are in a situation where anything goes,
Yeah.
that's like a big kerfuffle, right? A big,
Yeah.
that's a big mess.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. What about you,
That's
Dr.
good.
Strong? What you
I mean, I think it's beautiful, and it would be great if we could figure out how to follow that example. I mean, to really stand in that and say, look, this is a no, and here are the consequences. Poof, be gone. You can either choose to leave on your own, or we will extinguish you.
Do you think we could do that in our communities as it proposed to people who are molesters and pimps and anything that's harmful to our community? Do you think we're capable of doing that as Black folks? Let's just be honest. So let's just put it on the table. Let's put it right smack down where it needs to be. Do you think we're capable of having accountability within our own communities as Black folks? I'm gonna let it easy. Veronica said yes. Okay. Thank you, sis.
Yeah, I think we're capable. I think it's more of a whether or not we're willing to make the choice because of all the perceived I hate to say this, but perceived benefits for the individuals who are partaking in that.
I think it's hard for Black people to get on one accord. And that word unity, that is so beautiful. It looks cute on paper. And it's a nice word to say, and it's a worthy pursuit, and it's nice to strive for. But I don't know if we really have it in its in the true sense of what unity really means. So I don't know if we could all get on one accord and produce a code of ethics and standards and live by it. But if we could, that would be a beautiful thing. I know I would be here for it. But I think that it's going to take a level of urgency, and I don't know why. I don't even know if it's going to take that because the urgency is there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What you think?
So I
Queen?
have a question. Do you think it's one accord, or do you think is that? Because I'm pretty sure on the Sioux tribe, on Standing Rock,
They have differences.
they definitely have differences. Just
Right.
like but do you think it's a matter of safety?
Right.
Like black folks, we wait till 11:59 and 59 minutes for us to go get the whatever we gotta go get. And we could have been getting that shit the whole time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I get to think about unity. I just know for me, I ain't really been thinking about unity like that because I don't think black folks are gonna ever get there
right.
if we go that method or that route. But I do think sometimes when you realize that you are in a battle, you don't stop to say you with me. It's like I'm going, whoever's behind me, we rolling.
Right.
I don't have time to get people to agree that this is a problem. It's kind of like when we need to go march or we need to go to city council, whatever, to get an example. You know, you can ask people to come and then you look to see who's there. You got to roll with who you got.
Mhm.
So evidently in the Sioux tribe, when they did their voting, they had enough of them to go along with it. But they didn't get everybody because there would have been some mama there who started selling this shit to people,
Right.
saying that she's a victim and they'd have never
Right.
got that shit passed.
Right.
It's kind of like, no, I'm sorry, your son gonna have to be dealt with. He
Exactly.
is abandoning his ass. We don't care that the system, I don't give a damn. Because at some point, there's gotta be accountability.
And it has to
And that shit ain't easy. It's like you have accountability every time you make sure your children have food to eat.
Yeah.
You know, that ain't easy. You know what I mean? But you know your kids are dependent on you. You don't get to say, well, the white man treated us like shit. So it's like, no, I gotta make sure my babies get food.
Right.
I just don't have time to be blaming other people when I gotta go out here and try to make some dirt soup or something. I don't know.
Did you say dirt soup?
Did you say dirt?
I did say dirt soup. I did. But I'm just saying, I just think
Right.
sometimes
You get it.
I just, and I agree with you, Dan. I really think at some point we gonna get there. But I just felt like until we get to that one accord, and I don't think I'm gonna see it in my lifetime. I don't even think people is ever on one accord. I think you have groups of people who agree to a concept, and then
Right.
they all fight like hell to do it. Like when you look at colonization, I remember being in high school reading about Europe, England, Britain, the British, the French, the Portuguese. I remember all of them talking about how they were going to go into the world and divide and conquer
Right.
each other. So how
Yeah.
was it they could go and conquer people and then have things sitting right next to each other? How were they able to do that? I don't think they was on one accord, but they agreed to an idea.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, because they
Yeah,
even
do
fought
wanna
each other,
accord
but
that
they
concept.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so they agreed to one accord. So I don't know. I think the Standing Rock. I think if black folks will take a page out of both folks' book, that may be one to look at.
Mm-hmm.
That may be one to look at. I don't think it's going to be easy to banish people, but hell, if you ever been a Jehovah's Witness and did some crazy shit, they discommunicated you. I don't
Yeah.
know people who want cancer to hang on their body, like, but that's a part of my body, but it's eating you to death.
Yeah.
But you know, like who does that? If you're a part of the cancer, you have to be cut out.
That's right.
That's how we gonna save ourselves. I can't save you and my whole body when you are eating me up. So I don't know, shit. Like I'm very hopeful when it comes to my people, but I also know we gotta be some realists. And some of us have created some monsters. I'm just gonna be honest. And the monsters are real. And some of those monsters came out of our bodies.
Mhm. And some of us are monsters.
And some of us are monsters. You
Right.
ain't never lied about that,
Yeah.
sis. You ain't never
Yeah.
lied about that. And on the ending note, I'm trying to get this last slide up because I want to end with something like they get in the church. I love it. Okay, so this one is about a black chemist creates a clothing line to celebrate the beauty of melanin. So
Ooh.
first of all, I'm gonna have to get one of these shirts. That's number one. I really like this shirt. This is I'm about to bring it up right now. So just think, let's go, bam. Okay, let's go. So there it is, up on the screen, fam. I'm gonna make it big so you can all see it. Okay, so I'm getting better. Okay, here we go. Bam. So this chemist created a clothing line that celebrates the beauty of melanin, and I think that is so dope. So as we, tune out today with y'all, I want to. Though we talked about a whole bunch of stuff, I really want to highlight that even though in the midst of all the stuff we're going through, we're still creating.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're constantly creating.
Yes. And we're constantly learning. The Boys in the Hood just learned about melanin the last meetup. Rob
Right on.
came and broke it
Nice.
down and explained what melanin was.
Right on.
And that's so funny because I kept looking for images of melanin and these different types of like molecules or whatever kept coming up. And so for somebody to be so creative and put them on shirts, that's cool. I'm gonna have to give me one too.
Yeah, I just think that is so
Yeah.
dope, y'all.
Yeah.
And just celebrate that. I feel like sometimes some of us allow people to dummy down on our melanin. But melanin helps you to be connected to the whole universe, to be
Mhm.
honest with you.
Yes.
That's what a lot of people really don't understand.
Mhm.
So you'll let people talk you out of your melanin
Mhm.
and your shine and what the melanin does
Right.
for you, and other people are fighting with their
To get it.
sunscreen to
Right.
be out in the sun.
Right.
You can just be out there on GP,
Yeah,
Yes.
you know, and love it hard. That's
yeah,
what I always say.
yeah,
Love your
That's
blackness
right.
hard.
yeah.
Yes.
This week they had a show was released called Mixish, and I just thought Mix-ish. And I thought to myself, shit, we ain't even seen Pure Bloodish. Like, you know,
Right.
I mean, I put that on my thing, and a few people was, got offended, but I don't really give a damn. I feel like we gotta
Oh,
really,
it's the actual show?
yeah, it's a spinoff with the mom. But see, on that show, I've never seen no dark-skinned people on it.
It's called The Mom?
No, it's called Mixish.
Right, but you said it's a spin-off.
The mom is about her growing up being mixed.
Mixed.
Okay.
And I'm saying to
Yeah.
myself, are you kidding me? You know how many pitch black people who don't even like what their struggles have been being black and being in black skin and being in very dark skin?
Mhm.
So that issue has come up too because no, it comes up because in Boys in the Hood, we only talk about black icons, and we have some mixed children in there. And a couple comments was made. It definitely wasn't meant to be offensive, but this child they love their parent, who is not of the same as they are, the same race as they are. And I don't know, I'm struggling with how to deal with that and accommodate and validate everybody, because just as we have problems with being pure blood, whatever, however y'all want to say it. I think that they struggle too. So it's like, I'm talking about people who are mixed. And so I don't know, how do you validate children who are mixed?
Ain't your job.
Well,
I
right,
say
but
treat them as human beings.
Right.
And I think that mixed people have always had more. Again, here we go again. This is this value. Like
but
men
these
and women.
children don't know that yet.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I'm gonna tell you how they go. Even when they're around their white relatives, they don't be like, accept my black side. They be trying to fit into the white side. I mean, we can't leave out the equation like somebody created them that way. Hell, most black people in America is mixed with something. We'll be hanging on to the white ancestor who raped our ancestors to claim his bloodline, but not your black mama who's sitting there. Right. And I feel like that in itself is a misconception, because we feel like we're giving black kids their black experience, but hell, some of us are poison to black kids in the black experience.
I agree with that part.
Yeah. So,
But I
for
gotta
me,
find a way to validate this little boy whom I grew to love. I love him.
What about the darkest kid in your class? You let them too?
Yeah, you know me.
No, I asked that question because I don't know if you do, Dana.
Oh, I definitely
Yeah, because
do.
I feel like if you're treating children with respect, they should be able. The same way we're forced to sit and watch white people talk about all their greatness, and we still get something out of it. So can they. That's like saying you can't give them what white people get them. That ain't even your job. That's his mama's job or his dad's job to make sure he knows whatever that white side is. And what we don't know is that white people don't necessarily have that either.
Yeah,
that's why they have WASP.
I
know they don't care about them, but I hope that as you find a place for that mixed kid, make sure you take care of the darkest kid. Because black folks, we don't take care of the darkest kid. We assume that we do. Yours is an assumption. The same way you're assuming you have to find a place for this child. The same way you're making a place for them, make a place for the darkest kid. And I know it's hard for you to see it because you just think that because you black.
You should come.
Yeah. No. I don't have to come because I work with mixed kids all the time, and that's an illusion that's in their head. And we help the illusion by acting like they don't have a place. They do have a place. They always had a place. But I just wish we put that kind of love into the darkness of our children, because I think we assume we do, but I know most of us don't. Or we wouldn't be sitting here with all of these issues around skin color and classism and males versus female. We would have none of that if we were balanced. We assume that, no, if I take care of her, she's taking care of. But no, you're not really taking care of her. And I don't mean to sound like that, but every time I
That's
hear
you,
people
man.
come up, every time I hear people come up with the mixed thing, I'm gonna come up with the dark thing and the pure blood thing. I'm gonna come up with that. Because I know that they've never had a voice. I ain't never seen the last time I seen a big dark-skinned woman on TV was goddamn What's Happening. So I'm just saying that was back in the 1970s. So I just feel like that's an assumption that we make. And I don't think some of us is ready to talk race anyway. Because we'll find out that we contributed some of this stuff in a whole another trick bag.
I know. And
Yeah.
we trip
And it's
on it.
scary.
Some of us struggle so
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, a lot of us struggle. I think all of us struggle with
But I
race.
love my black skin. I'm so happy. And I'm happy to
Your
say
actions
that.
reveal how your heart truly feels. But go
Yes,
ahead.
I'm so happy about the fact, because I wasn't always happy because I used to be teased as a child. But I'm happy that now I don't have to project that.
Right
Yeah,
on.
now.
Right on, right
Yeah.
on,
And yeah,
That's
and
what
I
I'm
do,
talking
and I
about,
love all of the boys that are in the Boys in the Hood.
right on.
And I just feel like all of their feelings need to be validated. And I don't think nothing wrong with that.
I don't think nothing wrong with it, as long as we doing it balanced. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And not assuming
Yeah.
because somebody dark and they're in your presence that they being validated. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, family, we get ready to chime out of here. It's after 10. Danny got to open her
Yes.
store. I got to get ready for my event today. Dr. Strong, I'll get back to her lovemaking and her fiance.
Okay.
Y'all, we love y'all. We will see you all in the whirlwinds. Have a great week, fam.
Peace. Peace.
Okay, y'all.
I think we still on.
Okay.
Yeah, we are now.
I know, because I wanted to tell them that I'm not open today.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Well, girl,
That's okay. You should have let us close out.
okay. Yeah, I did, but I figured like, you know what? I'm trying to stick to the time. We
Yeah,
started
15
late
minutes
anyway,
over.
but now we're like 15 minutes past. We did like a good 2 hours, which was supposed to.
Yeah.
So yeah. Bam! In that stream. Oh
Peace, family.
yeah. So.
Peace.
Bam.